But other than that, now I have to think about the content. Okay, we're just about ready to get launched. I'm just doing the final connections here and making sure I'm on top of tech. Working tech is an actual live entity in this class. I call them working tech, tech working. And working tech needs to be in attendance. As you can see, working tech has signed up for the class, but what does that mean? Does working tech want to contribute and be a good partner with the human in this enterprise? Or is working tech going to be trying to take control and making things difficult for the human? We need look no further than 2001 and HAL for that. Okay. So I should close the doors, but not completely. It's just that I'll make sure that the audio is not interfering with everything here, but I'll leave one door open for now in case anybody wants to wander in. And all right, come on in. Grab a seat in the nucleus if you can. If not, just sit around the nucleus and be a good electron. That's what electrons do. They fly around the nucleus. So these are protons and neutrons right here. But if you want to be a freelancing electron zipping around, you can. But it's nice to see we have stable things, stable subatomic particles in this class. Well, welcome then to a class in which our tech is working properly. I have been hard at work, as always, with our IT department, media services, you name it, and we are getting this working, even though things are not working, but they will appear to be working, and that's good. Today, we are going to go in a very different direction than we have been. We're going to get off the planet, and we're going to start with space exploration. And we're going to continue this over the next weeks in one form or another. We may be back on planet Earth, but essentially, I'd like to take off today. And so that's the plan, is that we are going to begin our classes with space exploration. It will continue after the break. Next week, as you know, is the midterm break, reading week. And so I hope that you are all on top of your exams and tests and everything else that you're doing this week. And that maybe if you are busy with those cramming kinds of activities, that you will see this time of coming into this class as a bit of a kind of a break where you can really relax and open yourself and maybe even rejuvenate your brain so that when you do go back to studying, you will be even more focused for everything. Um, so Yes, space exploration, and we will start momentarily. I just want to check in with all of you and see if there's anything you'd like to bring to our attention, the class's attention, in the cosmos as well, before we go around the class a little bit with our mic. Ryan's over there. He's going to be an electron today. He's going to be floating around. Okay, so he'll come. So Dimitri's here. He's in the nucleus. Just use you know how to use that, and I'll come to that in a moment. Okay, Dimitri, just hold the microphone because we're going to pass it around. All right, and so yes, anything in the cosmos, please just jump onto the microphone that you have, and you will be rewarded for that by having your full participation marks if you engage in the class in live audio. That's essentially how you can earn your participation marks, and you have to stay live through the whole class. and be prepared to engage with everybody. But let's just see. We have a few in the cosmos, lots here, enough here on the couches for a good nucleus interaction of protons and neutrons clinging together, interacting with electrons flying around. Why are we starting space exploration today? Well, would anyone like to answer that question in terms of something happening in the news that might be significant? Oh, go ahead. Look at that. Who's that?
Hi, Lon. It's Jordan.
It's Jordan?
Yes. How are you doing?
Jordan, we can count on. This is a default. Jordan is a complete default. I've never seen his face. Oh no, we did see his face briefly
Well, first week.
last week. Jordan knows stuff, and it's great to have a student like that. But there are quite a few in this class who are ready to contribute. Jordan, what makes space exploration kind of relevant right now?
So we are finally going to be going back to the moon after decades. Well, we're not actually going onto the surface. We're just doing like an orbit, Earth, like sorry, a moon orbit, I
Yes,
believe.
that's right. That's right. So, are you all familiar with this mission called Artemis 2?
Uh,
Yes, no? Good,
yeah.
sort of, yeah? Okay, good. Oh, so not a lot of you aren't so much, which is good, which means you're gonna learn some things today. Jordan, what about you? What do you know about Artemis 2 that might make it really relevant for all of us being here in Canada?
Canada, from
Yeah,
Canada's
why would
perspective.
let's scroll down. Let me see if I can get fancy with this today and scroll down their website. Can I do this? Yeah, here we go. So just look, stay here. Don't do any crashing. Okay. Oh, come on. Artemis 2. Let's see if we can. There he is. Do you see
Oh,
behind me where this arrow is going? Do you
oh
see
yeah,
where it's about to land?
Canadian astronaut.
Yeah, that's right. Jeremy Hansen is going to be our next Chris Hadfield. Now, how many of you know the name Chris Hadfield? You must, right? Yeah. Chris Hadfield probably is unique. He commanded the International Space Station for 6 months. So he's definitely the superstar in Canadian space exploration and globally with all of his playing of his guitar from the little cupola right on the space station looking back on the planet. But Jeremy Hansen is right up there now. He's been selected and he's been training. And you know, he's right now in quarantine because they're supposed to go next week, March the 6th. Okay. That's the plan. It's been postponed 2 or 3 times because of technical issues. But yes, next, I think Friday, Friday, March the 6th, if everything goes according to plan, Jeremy Hansen and the 3 other Americans whom we love so much in Canada will be with him, but he will be there representing not just Canada, but all sorts of other space enthusiasts. Good. So there's a little bit of learning that has to be done today around Canada and space and the moon exploration and all of that. Jordan, is there anything else that you think is sort of noteworthy at this point about this coming launch next week, March the 6th? Anything you want to
Uh,
add? You know, you're
I'm
good?
not
Okay.
super familiar with it. No.
Okay. Good. Okay. So we need to today um, understand a whole bunch of things about space and about the moon and about being off the planet, leaving Earth and going into the solar system and beyond. And so, what I'd like to do is talk a little bit with you, maybe give a short lecture of about 15 minutes or so, and then allow you to go into probably pairs or threes to work together. Ryan? Yes, yes. I'm just setting up for a moment. Thanks for reminding me. That's good. Sometimes my mind takes this direction or that direction, but I will bring it back eventually. Okay. But I just want to explain a little bit of how things are going to go, and then we're going to come around with everybody. But essentially, what I want to do with all of you is not just understand something about our solar system and about the moon. It might feel like we're going back to elementary school today in terms of doing a little bit of basic astronomy and cosmology, like what is the solar system? How many planets are there? What is the moon? Why go to the moon? Like, basic stuff that is always interesting to explore. But we have a really big question philosophically that we have to work on today together, okay? And we will, which is what's the point? Why should we even be going to the moon? Why should we be even going into space? Is it important? Just hold on a second. I'm asking you to think about it, okay? And there are answers to this that don't always correspond with the view of let's go, let's explore, let's get out there and see what's in the solar system and beyond. You might have another answer to that, as in, no, who cares? We have bigger problems on this planet. Maybe we should just wait, cool it. So we're going to have a little bit of a interesting back and forth today after you work on that question together, and that's going to essentially kind of bleed into, if you will. It's not quite the right word, but it's going to kind of color the rest of the space exploration classes, which is should we be going or not? And in a way, it's going to give you a little bit of moment of reckoning with yourself because it's possible that you're going to learn from the way you approach this answer that you are truly a pessimist. If ever you thought you might be, now you're going to know for certain in the way that you answer this question. Or if you're somewhere in the middle, or if you're somewhere more optimistic, like one of my heroes that I grew up with, Carl Sagan, the popularizer of science, the great Carl Sagan, who did the television series Cosmos, the original that Neil deGrasse Tyson then made a remake of. And we could even go back further than Carl Sagan to my favorite Jacob Bronowski, who is really the first great popularizer of science for the general public. And his producer, Jacob Bronowski, in the 1960s, went on to produce Cosmos with Carl Sagan, and then Neil deGrasse Tyson was at the same university as Carl Sagan. So it all kind of, Cornell University, it all goes in a bit of a straight line. But he was an optimist, hugely. So we'll see where you stand, okay? So now that you know where we're going to go momentarily, now we can move the microphone around a little bit, okay? And I'm going to ask Dimitri a question, and then we'll move it to Elizabeth and Ron and the others here too in the nucleus. Is there anything in particular when we talk about space exploration, Dimitri, that you would like to explore over the next 2 or 3 weeks? Anything that you think is really important about the human future, if you will, in space, or not? And I'm going to make a note of that, and then we'll move on.
Check 1, 2.
What's that?
Checking the microphone.
Check. Yeah, good. Check. Okay, so you should all in the Cosmos here, Dimitri. Clearly, if you don't, then just let us know in the live chat. Okay.
Yeah. So one thing I would like to point out that I feel like there is this kind of like romantic idea of going to space with all the movies and the TV shows that we
Yes. Yes.
where it all looks so kind of like fun and interesting. But I want people to realize how difficult and unforgiving
Oh.
the environment of space is.
Now, it's always wonderful to have a student who isn't even enrolled in the class to just drop in and contribute his insights and wisdom. This is what elevates our class for all of you. So for those of you who are registered and are getting graded, there's a reason why Ryan's and Dimitri's and others come, and everyone's welcome to help elevate the conversation for all of us. Okay? But they're not getting graded at all. They're just here to light a match, help us. So unforgiving nature. It's brutal out there. If you want a confirmation of that, just look out the window right now. That's nothing. The snow coming down compared to what you get when you step onto another celestial body. Yeah. So, not so romantic. Good. Elizabeth? Yes, go ahead.
I'd be curious as to what the benefits would be for the people on Earth, on this planet,
Yeah.
for going to space.
Yeah, absolutely. Ron?
Well, it's cosmic manifest destiny, isn't it?
Cosmic manifest destiny. A little bit, but manifest destiny is, at least from a Canadian perspective, can be a kind of a darker term because we've talked about the US saying they have a manifest destiny to claim Canada. And that's what Donald Trump believes in his heart. You know, the great capitalist that he is. Yeah.
Well, I'm a pessimist, aren't I, Lon?
I've noticed a little bit of that. Yeah.
But I share much of the same thoughts Elizabeth does in that I hope that whatever scientific breakthroughs they make could benefit humanity in some way. And it's better they pillage space anyhow than, civilizations we've had on Earth.
Okay. Great. And I see Jordan already coming in. We'll come to, what's your name again? It's Cash. Cash. Okay, we'll come to Cash and say, Jordan, remember, my question was not necessarily the one that you're going to be working on, which is should we go or not? My question was, is there anything in particular you'd like to be exploring over the next weeks? Because I'm looking for topics that you might be interested in. I have my agenda that I'd like to teach, but so Jordan, go ahead and tell us what you want to tell us.
Oh, sorry. I was going to just talk more about space. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I was just gonna say, overall, my opinions on space travel is optimistic. I think it is for the betterment of humanity. But my thoughts about why we go to space and why we would go to space are pessimistic in the sense that essentially during the 60s with the space race, that was more so to prevent Russia from getting there first. Now, I since then the budget, especially for NASA, has become such a small part of the overall US budget that I'm surprised they're able to do all of this. Um, but now I definitely see that there's a lot of privatization that is happening, like with SpaceX and a lot of like Amazon has Jeff Bezos has his own Blue Origin, I believe.
Richard Branson too, who's popped into the Epstein photos. That beautiful
Virgin
collection of
Galactic,
photos. Yes, go ahead.
And
Virgin
yeah,
Galactic,
so
yeah.
my opinion is that we aren't going to do anything dramatic in space unless there's a way to profit. Now, Elon Musk, his goals, I think, are slightly different from that. I believe he wants to make humanity multi-planetary. So eventually the goal is to get to Mars, maybe have settlements there and do all that. Now, I personally do think that is something that is positive, like in terms of, well, I don't know. Some people.
Okay, well, I'll stop you for a sec because we're getting to the take up of this. I want to give you a chance to work together. Excellent. Okay, excellent. I just want to touch base and see if there are any particular topics that you want to explore in the next 2 or 3 weeks around space exploration. But I have a plan to take you to Mars, to take you into the next solar system, to look at exoplanets and the things we're discovering, all sorts of stuff. But let me go around. Okay, hold your questions for a second. All right, we're gonna have a lot chance. Cash. What would you like to look at in the next 2 to 3 weeks about space that you think is important?
I think kind of it's more the philosophy of curiosity versus like capitalism. It's like why? Because like a lot of the times people kind of like tend to romanticize it with just the curiosity aspect of it. And where does that kind of tie in with the level of organization we have here? Are we gonna bring it into space with more capitalistic gains? How are we
Yeah,
gonna profit? Like I
that's
think
right.
you said.
That's right.
And like, does that tie into what we are as humans, or does that tie into who are we going to become next?
We're talking about ownership rights. That's a big area of international law. By the way, if any of you are in law or interested in, that might be a future field that will grow. How do you establish ownership rights over who gets China? They've gone to the moon already. When they start to find stuff, do they own it? The US? Canada? Should, anyways, some good points there. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. What's your name again? It's
Daniel.
Daniel. Yeah, of course. Daniel, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, going back to what was previously said, like, what are the benefits of space exploration for humanity? And I guess curious in my mind to think about, yeah, will these negative themes of like colonization or capitalism or exploitation, will that transfer over to space as well, or is this an opportunity for us to learn how to live together and
Yep.
operate together in a new environment? And I guess another thing too that piques my interest is like I wonder more philosophically how will if space is capable or how it's capable of maybe helping us figure out our place in the universe or like understanding the origins of life or like
Yeah.
just the fact that I guess we haven't discovered life or anything, but looking outwards, maybe that'll give us some more introspective of like who we are as humans.
Absolutely. Very good point. And it's a philosophical question because you may remember when you were 6 years old and you're looking up into the sky with a sense of wonder of what's out there and what are we doing here and what is the big picture. We lose that sense of wonder as we get older, and we have to reawaken it now in this class and beyond. And that's often what happens when we start to look at spaces. It reawakens that wonder of what is the totality of our existence? Like, what's the big picture? Like, what are we humans doing here on this planet? And maybe we don't know the answer yet, but we need to go out there to find out. Okay, let's keep going quickly, and we'll come. Okay, Angelique,
Actually, I do remember.
is it on? Yeah,
Is it on?
is it microphone on? Just want to hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. During COVID, I used to follow Joe DeSena. Well, I still kind of follow him. Joe DeSena, he's the CEO of the Spartan Race. So he's like a super respected businessman that's always
Yes,
thinking of the next big thing because he is a business owner.
yes.
He runs the Spartan Race, and he's always kind of always thinking of what's the next big thing. And then he put a team together. He like hires teams to like make ideas. And then one of his ideas, he asked a question of like what would be like the best vacation ever or something like that.
The best,
Vacation ever.
the best vacation ever. The best vacation ever. Okay, yeah.
And this
Here,
group actually came up with a trip to the moon.
a trip to the moon.
He
Yeah.
said that would be the most lavish, most expensive, equivalent
Yeah.
vacation in the world
Mm.
would be a
Yeah.
trip to the moon,
Yeah.
which would be something. I guess like the way they described it is like a lot of people haven't experienced it, and a lot of people haven't known what it is yet. So like he asked this group of like university students of like what would be like the best vacation ever, and their response was a trip to the moon.
Doesn't that capture our imaginations? Even
Yeah.
the hard, unforgiving realists here who want to, do what a lot of people do these days, and they just put their arms up in their
Yeah.
chest and they say, I don't believe anything, and I think humanity is doomed.
Yeah.
It's an ugly thing, humanity, what we're doing to the planet and to each other, and all this war and destruction, and then this monster that emerges in the United States that is an absolute. We won't go down that road, but then we have this thing called curiosity, the human imagination, and I think that even the most cynical of us are still somehow captured by that sense of to the moon, aren't we?
Yeah.
Something. If you really want to reawaken that 6-year-old or 7-year-old and you're not afraid to go there, watch what happens to you as a human being. You open yourselves to something. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, and then he was actually trying to make it like realistic and real and actually.
Yeah,
think
sure,
about it.
sure, but just you've put your finger. The vacation. Just what would it be like? What is it? Go ahead. What's your name again? It's
Trinity.
Trinity. Of course, you were online last week, but now you're here. Good. Go ahead, Trinity.
I guess I want to know more about like the Earth 2.0s. You know, like how they found those planets that are like, yeah. That's all.
Okay, not a problem. Just got you thinking. Okay, you don't have to go ahead. And then we're gonna get into the teams. I'm just getting you guys sort of warmed up to then join each other and really work on this. So it's not should we or shouldn't we go unless you want to talk. It's what would you like to really look at in space exploration?
Okay, hi. Something I'd want to look at more in space exploration is probably like the outcome after a lot of famous like explorations that we've already done. 'Cause I
Yes.
feel like we focus a lot on the actual travel to space, like the process of going there, and no one really reflects or like talks about what the result of that was.
Yes.
We're just so fascinated by them going in the first place. So yeah.
Okay. Good. The outcome. Yeah. You want the results. You think of what. So kind of like what's the point? Like what are we going to gain from this? No. Well, we don't know. This is the essence of science. We go out there and we find something, or maybe we don't. But what if we do? Are you ready for how that might change the way we look at ourselves? What if we find life, water, something happening on another planet, and that we find that the elements of life or existence are not atomic based? We're made of atoms. But we might find something that's existence in the sense that it exists and it communicates, but it's not based on atoms. We also know, for example, that most of what's happening out there in the cosmos now, we don't even know because it's called dark energy, dark matter. So there's a lot we don't know. But if we find something, maybe the question is, are we ready to change ourselves? Or will we cling like Donald Trump clings to the podium and his teeth are coming out of his mouth and his toupee is going to fall off this way? This, cheap monster that he is. Let's go to the next.
She stole my take.
Should we go? We don't have to, or something else.
I thought
Okay?
like it's the aftermath of like going and then coming back that's like intriguing to me. Like
The aftermath.
yeah. So what if like they get some material or something that's like important to us, they bring it back. What happens then?
Yeah.
Do the narcissists take control of it?
Yeah.
Distribute it to the world?
Will it go to the rest of the world, or will it
Yeah.
be used by wealthy people and the elite to control us, or will it be shared?
Yeah.
Will Elon Musk really share stuff that he discovers, or won't he just try and enrich himself even more as the world's wealthiest, person? Yeah, good point.
Yeah, and the other thing is like humanity will always try to figure out what's out there, but we know that we can never really accomplish it because how the space like keeps moving on and like keeps growing bigger.
Yep.
So we can't really find an answer to what's out there. So we're using so much resources for that.
But I guess you would want to know if we do discover something important, who's going to have that knowledge? Who's going to have that resource? Will that be shared for the betterment of humanity? Or is it just going to enrich a bunch of people even more? And we've got even bigger problems now. We're just taking all the problems of hierarchy and inequality and greed, and we're just putting it out into the solar system. And now it's huge. It's not just an earthly problem, it's a cosmic problem. Yikes. That's Star Wars. Fight over it. Yeah. So, okay, great. At least you're starting to think about these things, because what I'd like to do, Brian, let's get a microphone. Ryan, yeah. Is there a question here? I want to. Okay, hold on a second. We're good. We've gone around. Thanks. We've gone around. Uh, Hold your questions for a second, because I want to make sure you have a chance to work with each other, and then we're going to have a big take up, okay, where you've really explored this. I also need a note taker and a few other things first. So let's do the note taker first, okay? Who could be the scribe? A volunteer wants participation marks. You did some great notes, Daniel. Yeah, so all good. Dimitri, will you sit there and just contribute your brain, okay? uh, who else? Let us see. Trinity, have you done notes yet? No, but you don't want to do notes, right? Or how's your handwriting? Not too bad. Why don't you give it a shot? Okay, let's see how it goes. Okay, so thank you, Trinity, and Trinity's going over there. So let me just show Trinity for a second what to do, because I'd like her to be followed by all of you momentarily to put your names up here. Okay, so Trinity, this is just like this, and when you want to put it off, you go like that. Okay, so just try that for a second. Just right there for a second, anything, and then rub it off. Yeah, a little bit of magic. All right. And then when you want to move, see, these are live PowerPoint slides we're making. You just do that. Okay. You want to try that just to make sure you know how it works? Good. Okay. So bring it back to the onboard slide. Just go back, Trinity. That's right. And what I'd like to do is just before we start the activity, could you all go sign your names on board and get up and get moving, and then we're going to put you into the teams and everything else. Okay. So Cosmos, they are moving over to the smart board, and I'll just show you the little gathering over there that's taking place right now, and you can see a little bit of what is happening. They are doing that. So I'd like all of you in the Cosmos right now, just to be safe, to write your full names in the live chat. Okay, so Jordan, Jackson, Carol, go ahead, sure. Carson, just to make sure we're going to do this together, okay? So how can we see the mirror image? Because it's the tech issue, Dimitri. But if it gets back. But so that's our video conference system that I've been developing. It's a bit off, but once you get onto YouTube, it somehow is a complete reversal, and we're back to the way it should be. Okay, so hopefully YouTube is not frozen. No, that's good. It's just up here. Okay, so on board, and why don't we Dimitri as our guest? Okay, go ahead and put your name when you have a chance. Okay. You're all part of the class too, in a certain way. There's Elizabeth. I'll bring this back, and we can get going. So, what I thought would be helpful before you all begin to really work on this, we or shouldn't we? Great, keep going. Is to talk a little bit about this mission, the Artemis 2, and tell you a little bit about what's happening with this particular mission. Just for about 10 minutes, just a quick little lecture. And then it will help you, knowing this, talk a little bit more, I should say, broadly, maybe even deeply about the meaning of this mission of going back to the moon. I need to tell you a little personal story about this, okay? And then I can broaden it out. I'd like to go, and I've certainly had dreams, sober or not, of opening myself to a more cosmic perspective. So I guess I'm sort of there already, Ryan, mentally speaking, because that's a good question. I'm going to transition now to this little personal story. It's not a bad question, actually, in terms of what I wanted. In 1969, okay, I have been around a little bit, okay, long before you were a fiction, and I'm probably including Dimitri in this too. I was 7 years old, and I was invited along with my family to the boyfriend of my mother, who had a little sort of cottage in the Muskoka area at that time. And he invited us there the summer of 1969 when Neil Armstrong walked on the moon for the first time. In other words, when the Apollo mission that you all know about, the first time we stepped on the moon, when that happened live for the world, I was there, pier, on a little pier, and I will never forget that moment. It is stuck in my mind. It's emblazoned there. That moment when I walked out onto this little pier, onto a lake, and I could hear in the back, in the cottage, through the screen door, Walter Cronkite. He was the legendary anchorman, CBS News, United States. He's long before the United States became what it is today. It it was a more serious place, and there were some people who really were. And Walter Cronkite is one of those great anchor men or anchor people in television news, and he was narrating the moment live when Neil Armstrong, the other astronauts, landed on the moon, and we got those famous lines about one step for man, for mankind, something like that. I can't even remember exactly the words. Mankind, thank you. One small step for man, one giant step for mankind. Well, sure. It's something that has entered the eternal consciousness of humanity. But what I remember is just the moment when I was standing on a pier and I could hear through the screen door in the cottage the news, and then Walter Cronkite narrating this. And I was looking up at the moon, and I knew that at that moment I was walking there or stepping onto there. That has never left me. And as a matter of fact, the idea of this sort of planet that we are and that we're part of something bigger has always been a big part of how I think, my mindset. So much so that over the years I became a mission that did not witness in the same way. That was in 1968, not in 1969. In 1968, in the Christmas morning of 1968, is when we saw the planet whole for the first time. That mission, when we went to the moon and we thought we might land there, but then we decided we won't, we're not ready. We went into orbit around the moon. That's exactly Jeremy Hansen and the other astronauts are going to be doing if they get launched next week. They're going to spend 4 days in space. They're going to go around the moon. It's the first time in 50 years. We do the math, 1968 to 56 years, maybe. Let's do the math for a second. More than 50 years. 1969 is when we stood on the moon. 1968 is when we went around the moon. It's 2026, 68, 50 years, 58 years. 58 years. 58 years later, we're going back. Now you may ask yourself, why did it take so long? If we went there and the astronauts who started to few years as part of subsequent Apollo missions in 70, 71, and 72, they expected that there would be a regular presence on the moon, but there wasn't. I'm not going to talk about why that might be. My point is simply to remind you that when we went the first time and we were motivated many other things than just space exploration. There was a Cold War going on between the United States and the Soviet Union. Nonetheless, for the astronauts and the humans who went there, and the astronauts today who are going there, politics is important for them as just the desire to go and see this. If we had not gone during those Apollo missions, do you know that we probably wouldn't know or would not have known as that we are a planet that is a body that sits in space? We never would have had a photograph of the planet. We never would have known until much later that we are a planet. Earthrise, that image that was taken. Are you familiar with the image Earthrise? Do you know what Earthrise is? Earthrise is that picture we took Christmas morning, 1968. The three astronauts who are coming around the orbit of the moon, and their whole intention, pictures of the moon. That's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be going around and getting high resolution pictures now the moon with very, very good cameras. And we think that there's now some ice on since then. The rocks that we got back from those missions have shown that there might be something else there. But when we went around the first time, the astronauts have said the memorable part of that mission was not the moon. It was what they saw with the Earth in the distance. The Earth rising over the horizon of the moon, and it's called Earthrise. And those pictures were shown all around the world. And it was the first time that humanity had ever seen the planet as a whole thing. You take this for granted now. As a child, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years old, I was glued to the television set, glued to her. Could these Apollo missions bring to us? And then they stopped. So what I want to tell you is that the mission was the moon last time. It was to get pictures of the moon. But the outcome was Earth. So we may discover something that could potentially change our perspective. Maybe not, but it did. Does that make sense? Now, I've just made a case, a personal case for something. Take it for what it's worth. Just a personal thing. But let's now think about this idea of, do we go to not just the moon now, but do we stay there now? Do we build the colony on the moon that we believe we... If there is more water ice that we're discovering on the moon, which we have discovered. It's not BS. We have discovered this. It's not just a barren, dry, stark, dead place. As a matter of fact, you know what we're learning about Mars? Mars, too, might have one. We're discovering more when we get there. Why do you think Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson and all these others want to spend so much money to go there? Because it's telling them they might make a massive load of money by getting things out there before anybody else. So we need to really think about not just should we go, how should we go, what should we do there, how should we manage the knowledge questions. But the only thing I can say for certain to all of you as you think about this question is it doesn't matter what you decide right now. We're going. So now we're going. You may think we shouldn't go. That's great. You have to make a case. But you have to do it within the reality of we are going. So now what do we do? Okay. So here's what I want to do. Okay. Here's what I want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to try and mix it up a little bit. And we'll say you're number 1, you're 2, and you're 3. You're 1, you're 2, and you're 3. You're 1, 2, and 3. You're 1, and you're 2. You're going to say? Okay, you decide. What's that? Yeah, you have to, but you're registered, so you have to be in the group. But why would you just want to observe? Well, I'm gonna have to put a little to be in the group, but you can observe. Okay. Yeah. You are number 3. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay. And stay in the nucleus. 2 stay in the nucleus, and 3 stay in the nucleus. Ryan's our electron, and maybe Elizabeth will get kicked out of the nucleus into the electron sphere. Okay. Okay, and for them momentarily, but let's make sure everybody's set up in the nucleus, okay? So 1's over here, 2's over there, 3's over here, okay? Good, Jason, thanks, or Jordan for putting that. I'm going to come to you momentarily in the cosmos, so, okay. 1's, good, yeah, excellent. 2's, 3's, Daniel, yeah, good. Okay, so what I want you to do is just think about the idea of what I've just said, which is should we or shouldn't we? And then be prepared. Okay, let's see who the pessimists, optimists, and whatever are here. And go ahead. Okay, I'll check in with you in about 10 minutes. All right, good. Now, Cosmos, I'm going to try something here. Yes. The occult. Oh, Ron. Why don't I make a little note of this, okay? History of the occult? The history of the occult. I don't know enough to really be able to tell you right now. I'm going to think about this, okay? Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to come over to the smart board because I want to do something with the. You go ahead. Yep, and Ron, you're with them, right? Okay. Okay, good. Let me get this. And I want to get a pen. So the question I'm going to put to you all is, okay, so first, let me just establish. Jordan, can you see me clearly over the smartboard right now? You should be able to. Let's see. Great. Okay, and I see the chat. So you can come in on the chat for all of you. So here's the question, okay, that I want you all to be thinking about right now and each other in the live chat. But what I'd like you to do is after you've thought about this question, I'd like you to put your answers into the live chat as best you can, and then we'll take that up together. And I'd like you to be able to read out loud your live chat comments during the take up in about 15 minutes. Okay, so just be prepared. The question is, should we go to the moon now? Okay, that's your question. Should we go to the moon now? You may, but we shouldn't. That's fine, absolutely. Or you may think we should. Be prepared to give reasons. The only thing I would say to all of you at this point, as you answer this, is for those of you who think we should wait or not go at all, be aware that we're going to go happening. But you may want to think about that in the context of what you're going to say. It shouldn't diminish what you say at all. It just needs to be made clear for all of you that there is a lot of money, there is a lot of will, not just through Jeremy Hansen, the astronaut, but in the United States, in China, in India, in Europe, and other parts of the world who have their own space agencies to get to the moon for something that we're beginning to see is there. And I'm going to give you this right now. I haven't yet mentioned this to anyone yet here, but I'm going to write this on the board so that we can. It's called titanium. Okay? Titanium is something that we're beginning to see is abundant on the Mars. That's all I'm going to say for now. But be aware that this is one reason why so many countries are beginning to organize missions, and that there are 9 commercial agencies right now internationally that are vying for the contracts to start mining the titanium on the moon. Okay, so I'm going to come back. Let's see what's here. Emily, Harishka, Jaden, Harpreet, Haneen, Jackson, are you all clear? I know Jordan is. Carson, everyone clear on what I'm asking you to think about? Great. Okay. So let me come over here, and I'm going to join an in-person. Okay, and I'm going to turn off my microphone so Well, I've written, just so you know, I've written on here um, a mineral that has been discovered on the moon that we would like to capture more of. It's called titanium. And if we're able to capture new resources in other parts, that may change our lives here. But just a second. Sorry, Angelique, just a second. I lost my glasses. Hold on. I left them here. Just 2 seconds. Okay, 2 more minutes, and then we're going to take this up. Titanium. Where did I put that? Okay, good, Emily. Thanks for letting me know. And I will find my glasses. I think I know where they are. Okay. I guess I'm not going to find them. Okay. I know they're somewhere, but good, Harshika. Let's see. I need to get my glasses. Here they are. I've got them. Nice. Jackson. Okay, we've got Jordan. Oh, that was the pre-discussion. Jackson. Jackson, be prepared to read this out loud, okay? Microphone, not yet. I will let you know when. Harshika. Haneen. Great. Okay. We're going to take this up very shortly. And we need to get the notes. So I'll need to get Trinity back on the notes. But take another 30 seconds just to wrap it up. And then we're going to try and figure out if we can answer this question and see if there's some insights as well. Emily, are you able to write your answer to the question in the live chat? Will you be able to do that? Good. So go ahead. The question is, should we go to the moon now? That's the specific question, but we can also address the bigger question. Now, should we go to the moon now? It's a little different than what I gave all of you, but not to worry, okay? It's still about going. Good. Great. Okay. So let us begin to take this up, and we will work with the comments in the live chat. Great. And we will try to figure out what are the compelling reasons to not go in our estimation. Okay, I think we're ready. And when you're wrapped in Trinity, when you're done, please go back to the board, and we're going to make sure we. And for all of you, if you are not aware, I had mentioned about one mineral that will come up quite a bit in the next weeks as we see Jeremy Hansen and others go to the moon. If they get there this time, that's titanium. Yes, Ryan. In, well, you might have already sensed what my answer might be. But in terms of the question of should we or shouldn't we be there, should we or should we not go now? Oh, interesting. Spiritually speaking. Okay, we'll touch on that, but let's start the take up. Okay, thanks, Ron. Let me just make sure everybody's. Uh, yeah. Well, I'm going to make sure they have time to talk now because they're ready. Oh, okay. All of you, we're going to start the take up. All right, we're going to start the take. Trinity, can you go back to the board and be prepared? Serious notes, and we'll help you with those. And Ron, Elizabeth, definitely now is a time when you can really talk and we can understand more what you wanted to say. Okay, so we're going to start in the nucleus and then we'll move to the live chat. Insights are there and we will then see where we get in about 15 or 20 minutes in terms of whether we should now. That's the specific question. Should we be going to the moon now? And in terms of your answers, let's try and give each person who speaks time to really explain, and then we'll try and extrapolate from that the critical things that we would give Trinity. On is insight, always on that board. Those are the notes that people will be studying. So, you ready here? Elizabeth, Ron, Daniel, whoever. We'll come to Angelique in a second. We'll get. No, you have a microphone? Okay. Just to give a little bit of energy to this, why don't you stand here? Okay. So you see right by the podium. Okay. We're gonna do this, and you can see that there. I'll you see on YouTube there, but I'll leave this up for now. Okay. Just tell us a little bit about your thoughts on should we or shouldn't we go to the moon now?
Yeah, okay. So I guess in our discussion, we talked about that question specifically, and we thought that honestly, there are a lot of problems going on in the world. I would say more countries seem to be more on edge, and conflict is more common.
Yes.
So maybe this is a time where we need to focus on those issues. I personally was also thinking that to sort of have this mission to the moon be like more of an international effort,
Yes.
something that unites us rather than divides us. But unfortunately, just how the state of the world is, it seems that, well, for example, the astronauts going are pretty much all American. There is one Canadian.
Yeah, just one Canadian, but it's definitely not an international mission that we've had with the space station. In fact, the space station will be decommissioned. It won't be around anymore. Yeah.
So it seems like we're already going into this next phase of space exploration, being like we're on sides, and we're kind of
Yes.
competing
Yes.
collectively
Yeah.
together. So that's what we kind of talked about, and also how we should. It'd be good to put focus on the issues that are currently happening.
Yes. Yes.
I do want to mention though, I think somebody mentioned that it could be maybe an escape, or maybe even if we're looking at it positively, maybe a source of
Yes.
thinking that maybe this could be seen as something that humans are capable of doing, and something that, okay, well, going beyond sort of breaking the barriers,
Yeah.
things like that can be seen as, okay, we're capable of doing that ourselves.
Yes.
But at the same time, the question comes, and this is for, do we really care? Does it really relate to us at the end of the day? Does it change my life? Does it help me with the things that I'm going through? Does it relate to me?
And would it be fair to say that the answer to those questions you just posed right now is no? It doesn't relate. It's just not. Does it care? Does it relate? Does it have anything to do with what's happening down here? Like, does it really matter? No, it doesn't. it's not going to make a difference to my life. Is that fair?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I feel like there are a lot of people who may think that, because
Great.
there's a lot of problems.
Excellent. Let's keep going with this group here, okay? Give every a chance. Elizabeth, you want to come up? Okay, Ron, come on up, okay? And we will see. And Trinity, you're getting some good. Good. Okay, nice handwriting too. It's nice and clear. Excellent. Okay. Ron, go ahead.
Well, my thoughts are actually quite brief. I just overheard something that Elizabeth said, which is it feels quite irrelevant, doesn't it? And I was wondering, this is all some sort of a cultural distraction.
A cultural distraction.
Yeah,
From what?
anything.
Our problems here, our conflicts, our what's that? From the Epstein files,
Wasn't
from
gonna say
all
it.
these scandals, from the, just there's so many conflicts and human problems on Earth. Why would we ever want to just distract ourselves with something that potentially problems for us down the road? Let's fix things here.
Well, thing is, Lon, all those billionaires that you mentioned that are investing all this money into space technology, they are, cohorts or associates or eating.
Yeah, yeah, we're learning that too. Absolutely. Jordan, are you listening to all of this? Because it's going to be very interesting to get your view after you do feel that we should be going, right?
I mean, we are going to go nonetheless. Questions why and what value it could bring. And it could bring value, I'm not knocking it. It did bring value to humanity. Could again.
It opened our minds. That's what I was saying as a child, from a personal standpoint, mind, and changed my perspective on how I live my life here. That's not insignificant.
I'll
It's
pass
a
this mic.
mental growth, a mental expansion, and it's often been said that through human history, humans are becoming more mentally open to the reality of being on Earth. They're learning more and more what life is really like here, and they don't rely so much on superstition and stories. They're accepting and wanting to know more about the reality. That's science. So, isn't that mind opening experience
I think that
important?
Oh, yes. I mean, people's minds are being opened in 1969 through other means, anyhow. But, I think it would benefit society if our minds are a great deal more open and resilient and expanded to look at the broad human spectrum rather than how divisions in society they keep us entrenched in these individual cultural battles that I don't feel amount to anything. I don't think if I'm dead, it'll still go on, just to perpetuate all this
Okay.
nonsense. But I think it could bring humanity together. I hope it will.
Okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Thanks. Any Elizabeth, or it's uh, sorry, sorry, yes, sorry. Okay. Okay. So, you ready, Elizabeth? Come on up a bit. So she's go ahead. Us. You always
Along the lines of yes, I can something about that inspiration thing because a lot of visionary or creative people can be very short. thing after the other.
Let me deal with that. You should hear it.
Okay.
I'm mad. Watch this. Just words are. I'm calling cables that are attached. Spacecraft goes off, is launched. Those cables all continues on. You know the term is for all of those. Isn't that lovely? So I just took an umbilical from here and put it into here. Okay, Elizabeth, carry on. Go back. I just want to make sure you're heard. Speak straight into the microphone. And
What I said was yes, it can open our mind if we go. But that inspiration is awesome, but it can also be very, very short lived. So it might not be all this cost, all this expense might not be worth a very short lived bout of inspiration. But it also might be because some crazy things have been invented like that. So, you know.
is it fair to say that our culture, our civilization on Earth is kind of addicted to short-term gratification?
Yeah.
Is that fair? Yeah. Do you know what J.D. Vance once called Donald Trump? Crack cocaine. He's cultural cocaine, cultural heroin. That's before he changed his stripes and then joined Donald Trump. Some gratification, we gotta stop that and think more long term. Right, Elizabeth? Something like that? Okay, did everybody hear Elizabeth clearly? Continue, I'm going to assume you did. And let's go next. Not yet, Ryan, okay? Hold on. You ready? Oh, okay, go ahead, go ahead. But then I want to get the microphone to all the others who are in the, what's your name? It's Georgia Ronsky. Yeah, of course. Georgia, get ready, okay? Because I really want to give you a chance to feel some pressure on having to explain why it's not relevant. Okay, and we'll help you. I'm going to help you. All right. Go ahead, Ryan.
I think Daniel is meant as being like a distraction, and you mentioned that as well. But I feel like something like that's a sidetracked, like kind of deviation from what we should be focusing on here on Earth.
Yes.
But I feel like that is something that's like constantly, like you said, like we're perpetually distracted here on Earth. And I feel like that can be seen even in this moon mission because like we've been to the moon already. We have like these shots. I'm not saying we shouldn't go back, but you know, it might be right, but is it right now? So, and I think that even kind of the paradox is on Earth, we're kind of perpetually distracted by all these things, technology, materialism.
Yes.
So like spiritually being there, spiritually experiencing the moon, that perspective that you might need to see all of these different explore being there, that might not be apparent to us at this point in time. You know, one person might go looking at a very abstract painting in art. One person might see only one thing, and one person might see.
Yes.
So one person has the open mind, and the other person is.
Okay. So I'd say you're not view of let's wait, but at the same time you are curious, more from a spiritual standpoint, right? Like, how can we really grow the humans? And George, I'm talking about not just me or you or Angelique, but on planet Earth. And that we all are are a part of.
I feel like that comes from
That's important.
An exploration of nature, benevolence mindset rather than just like as you mentioned, just greed and trying to take as much as you can.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Meant of benevolence or just pure exploration or one almost creative mindset, then you're working from a different place of thought, right?
Okay, fair enough. Punctuating point to that the four of them there feel exactly what you just said. They're going because of that, not because of the glory, maybe a little bit, but ultimately it's that, as Jeremy Hansen farm in Ontario, so did Chris Hadfield. Farm boys. They go out in the field, they're with the animals, they're in nature, and they look up. You live on a farm in nature and you become aware of this bigger picture. And he was inspired from his childhood to know more because he'd heard and seen about other missions. He had been inspired by other missions, and now he wants to see it, just to do it. Okay, can you give the microphone to Georgia, please? Yeah, and let's see, okay, because I think Georgia's perspective is really helpful. Why don't you come up, okay? I'm doing this purposely, and if it's uncomfortable, I won't do it. I'm putting pressure on you to communicate in front of others. This is an essential employability skill that is in the course outline. Your ability to stand in front of others on your toes with no device in your hand and speak.
Okay.
Go ahead. Tell us what you told me, which is you're not so sure this is. Go on.
Okay. I just don't feel like it's as personally relevant as like we make it out to be to humans. Like I don't know.
Keep going. Try.
Like I feel like that we try and like make space seem like more like space exploration like seem more relevant than it actually is, because like we want to like avoid being introspective. Like we don't want to talk about things that are going on in Earth, and like I know
Yeah.
we do technically, but like when you kind of like look at how like special we make space exploration seem, it kind of like takes away from like how special being introspective is.
Yeah.
Like it is special to talk about things, you know? That's what I feel. It's like
You feel a little bit like the culture is shoving space down your throat, like we got to go, and all the rich countries, United States, Canada, not as rich but rich enough, and others, like they're all just going, and you almost feel like you got to follow that to be part of the culture, and you would like to take a moment to pause and go inside and really, is that fair?
yeah, I think it is kind of that. Like I I guess I'm not like looking down on like space exploration itself. I'm just like annoyed at the fact that like we avoid being introspective. Like it's not the fact that space exploration is a thing, it's just that we don't do the other thing at the same time.
Is it possible that the real exploration for humanity is not outward but inward?
Yeah.
Ooh. Do you really believe that? Did you answer that in the affirmative because you believe it?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty wise, Georgia.
Yeah.
That is really, really wise. This would not be the first time I've had this conversation with students where we started by going outwards and we ended up inwards. So you're not alone in your thinking. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, Angelique, we're going to come there in a second. I want to give Jordan a chance to speak. Jordan, are you there? Let's see. How are you doing? Jordan? Are you able to get on your microphone? Ooh, something's happened with our speaker and our audio. So I'm going to let that be for now. That's such a shame. Oh, today has been such a good day. And I was ready to hit the 407 and go home and say to my wife, wow, tech was working and was our friend. And that at a critical moment, tech is not working. Okay. That's a bit of torture for me. Why don't we do this? Angelique, go
Can you hear
on.
me?
Is that Jordan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Excellent.
There's
So I
definitely
thought it
some
might be my
technical
problem.
issue.
Jordan, Okay. Jordan, did you hear what Georgia said?
Yes, I do have a response to that as well. Did you want me to like read my
Could you
initial?
tell us?
Sure.
Yeah, first,
So
first read yours, okay, and then we're going to let you speak to Georgia, and then come to Angelique, and see if we can come here, and then we're going to conclude. Okay. So, actually, sorry, Jordan, I'm going to rewind. I'd like you to answer Georgia first, and then we'll come to what you wrote. That's the critical part right now. Go ahead.
sure.
Tell
So
us what you think.
I just have a like a brief response. It's just more so
Okay.
like when I hear that argument about why are we wasting resources or money on this, I just think like the amount of money invested in space, like for example, by the US government is so minuscule that like why not just see what happens? If all funding left NASA, it's not going to be like that money is going to go to programs that actually will benefit people. It'll just probably go into more defense spending. So it's again, I don't see the harm in allowing this
Sure.
minuscule amount of the budget be uh, sent to NASA and allow them to do all of these scientific discoveries and technological advancements and just see what happens.
Sure. Okay. So from a financial, but more deeply, Georgia wants to respond. Excellent. Georgia, microphone. Take microphone. You can stay there if you like. Okay. This is good stuff. Let the students speak to each other. Georgia, go ahead.
Okay, I didn't bring up the fine and agree with you actually.
Yes.
It's more just talking about like intellectual focus, like how we focus on outer things, not inner things. I know I'm not saying this in a smart way, but yeah.
It is smart.
Okay. But yeah, I wasn't bringing up the financial part because I agree. I feel like the funding towards space exploration is already very small. So, yeah.
So what you're saying, can you address that, Jordan, about this more spiritual part of, the real exploration for a human? And that's even what Socrates, the great philosopher, has also said. Go in first and figure things out, then start to go out. But what do you think about that, Jordan?
Yeah, I definitely see that perspective and understand that. My response would just be that I think we do have many great minds working on things here already for what's happening on Earth. But at the same time, I do also think, like, I kind of share the same perspective that Elon Musk has in the sense that Earth right now, I feel like we have essentially gone past the point of no return for in a lot of different ways. Now, if we were able to branch out to other planets, that is just a way to ensure that humanity can survive past whatever happens on Earth. So that's like another main priority in my mind.
Yes, yes. Is it okay if I and Angelique as well, but is it okay if I just stick with this until the end, because we have some real important stuff happening here between the students? I want to stay on this. Is that okay? In review after the break, okay? Promise. Okay. Elizabeth, go ahead.
Respond to that. Humanity is the creature that destroys its own planet. Do we really want that creature going to other planets?
Jordan, you want to try and answer that?
Yeah, no, that's 100% like a sentiment that I also have in the back of my mind. Like that was one of the questions I did bring up potentially was like, is humanity, are we a virus? Like, should we be spreading ourselves out past Earth? So yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, but in terms of just the instinct of survival, I think that is something to focus on. But yeah, I 100% agree. Maybe it isn't if what we've done on Earth. Like I can imagine we haven't learned any lessons. We would just continue to like exploit other planets, move on to the next, and yeah. So again, it really reminds me of the perspective of the machines in the Matrix about humanity and how we are a cancer, we should be exterminated. Yeah.
Ooh, isn't this interesting, Jordan? That you're someone who has essentially said early on, like me, that we and there's no reason why we shouldn't, particularly if it's not that expensive, given what you said around the cost of this. But in a way, you're sort of to what Georgia said, which is we humans don't know our yet. Only by going inside and doing some work on ourselves, then maybe we should think about the bigger stuff because we will take the virus to another place. We want to stop the virus first before we take it off the planet, right, Georgia? You follow? I think you do. Because we're almost done and he's registered. Hold on. I got to make sure. He's given the chance, okay? Let's come over here and we're going to finish, okay? We have 3 minutes left. And we are now at a point of thanks to your ability and your desire, your willingness to speak. Go ahead.
Um, the argument is that we don't know yet that we are like capable of going out, and like I would say like we just have to look at the regulations, and the international laws and regulations haven't been set up perfectly yet. So we shouldn't go then. We should wait until the regulations and everything have been set up properly. And person like Elon Musk can't just abuse space and like hoard all of the materials that they are.
Yeah.
And the other thing is if humanity is like curious, just go and look into ocean, I guess, because it hasn't been explored. So why isn't
A
that
lot of the ocean. This is true.
if you wanna like be curious, just go and look into ocean. Why do you have to go into space? And we know that there's living creatures and stuff we can find in the ocean. We are likely to find more stuff in the ocean than in the space, for now at least.
But would you all agree, just to conclude, would you all agree that in spite of your different perspectives, there's one thing you all agree on as human beings? That know something, you are absolutely determined and restless to know it. Would you say that's true? Of every single Georgia? When there's something you don't know and you want to know, you're going to find a way to find out. You're not going to just sit and don't you? What's that? When you care, you want to know. Not what? Yeah. It's been said that, and never will be, the restlessness of the human imagination and the human desire to know. It just can't be contained. I think that's a. We'll see where it goes. Okay, so listen, we're just about 1 minute away, and I'd like to conclude. Definitely, I know you want to say something, right? Do you want to say just what's that? We've got 1 minute, okay? Just 1 minute. Okay? 1 minute. I want to make sure you have a chance, and then we're going to finish up.
I was also gonna say it's could be relevant for two ways. Where like earlier, it could be like the next big thing of like the next big vacation you can go on. So it could go in a way of just having regular maintenance up there and like exploring something and then discovering something that hasn't been discovered yet. or even like I said, it's kind of funny the example in the Futurama.
Futurama. She was. Do you know the show Futurama? The show Futurama. I wished I'd watched some episodes because it looked very interesting.
It actually was quite funny. The guy is actually a scientist, and then yeah, he goes into space and he wouldn't have discovered if he didn't go. So and then so I kind of thought that was just kind of
He wouldn't have discovered it if he didn't go.
yeah.
Well, you have to think about that in terms of this idea of restlessness.
Hmm.
I think we all have a bit of that. Some maybe more than others, but we can't contain it, Georgia. The curiosity when we care. Try to contain it and see what happens to you. Just try. Okay. Anyways, thank you all as always for being willing to share and go a little deeper together and begin to touch on these more, I guess, future forward-looking issues. I will be doing a class on Mars. It won't be like this philosophically. I do want to explore exoplanets, which are the little planets that we're discovering outside of our solar system that we think of life. I haven't yet done any kind of basic astronomy with you and cosmology about how the solar system is structured and what is the other solar system beside us, what universe. I need to do that. So there's lots we're going to do together when you come back from break. Okay. So have a great break. I look forward to your first assignments. They're all in, right? And see you when the weather is definitely going to be better in a week or so. Promise? Promise? Good. Okay. Thanks everyone in the cosmos. Take care, Jordan, for your insights. Thank you. The show for all mankind. Okay. Have you, is it, I haven't heard of it. For all mankind. We see it. Where can I watch it?
Hello, Professor.
Apple TV? Is it, it's a series? Yeah, Apple. Oh, thanks, Jordan. Okay, good.
Hello.
Okay. For all mankind. Who's that? That's Harshika?
Yep. Are we
Yeah.
graded for today's participation?
Well, let's see. Uh, but why don't you just stay there for a moment, okay, Harshika?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I will tell you, I will give you sure. Okay, just a second. Hang on, all right? I just need to make sure I've dealt with some other things. Okay? So don't go anywhere yet. Okay, so we've got that.